Ready to roll. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Going to get rolling here. Welcome to the Tuesday, February 6th, 2018 meeting of the General Purpose Authority. Dave, would you like to call roll?
Mr. Langen?
Here.
Mr. Donahue?
Here.
Mr. Dowd?
Here.
Mr. Chabone?
Here.
Ms. Ferraro? Absent. Mr. Lucius?
Here.
And from the staff, Sarah Ortiz, and I'd like to introduce Tina Smith, who's the new director of DCED.
Hi, welcome, Tina. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Okay. No Mark?
No.
Okay. In your packets were previously provided by staff. You have the minutes from our January 9th, 2018 meeting.
Have there been any changes to the minutes since they were distributed last week?
Yes, in section 7.2. There was just some minor verbiage changes.
That was to clarify my statements at the meeting.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion made, Mr. Donahue.
Second.
Second, Mr. Chavone. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Treasurer's report, Dave.
In the packet, you'll have the running account of all the accounts, the activity since the last statement. There was a check to the county for $13,221.34. That's for the administrative services agreement. There's a check for $298. That was to pay for Sarah's class at the Northampton Community College. And under the money market account, we had a deposit of $482.80, which was the Hope loan, which they've been current throughout the entire time that they've been repaying. And then we also have the $200,000 fee for the bond for St. Luke's.
Okay.
So if you look at the total deposits, that's $1231.17. For the GPA, it's $2,915,352.31.
You have a phone call coming in here? Is Peg going to be calling in?
I never had a
She never
response.
Do you know the
responded.
number?
I know it just said wireless caller, so. Anybody know how to operate this?
You want to try to get her up on the cell? Did she say she was going to be calling in?
I didn't hear back from her.
Here
Okay.
it is. This is yellow. Oh, it's ridiculous. Hello?
Hey, it's Peg.
Hey, Peg, how are you? It's Mike.
Good, good. Oh, hi, Mike.
You're on with everybody,
From
Peg.
Florida.
Yep,
What?
I'm back from Florida. Are you, where are you now?
In, actually on the Gulf Coast.
Oh, all right, all right.
Yeah.
She pick it up from that.
Yep.
We've got you on the speaker now. We've got you on live.
Okay, okay, thank you. I've got to mute my phone now. So,
Okay, very
All right.
good. Let the record reflect Peg Ferraro has called in at 8:21 a.m. Okay, you didn't miss much, Peg. We're just in the middle of the treasurer's report. Oh, no, we finished the treasurer's report. Okay.
I think we need a motion. for
Yep,
it.
motion was, no, we did the, oh, no, I'm sorry, we did the minutes. You're in the middle of the treasurer's report. We don't have a motion yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear us, Peg?
Do a motion to
Yes.
approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Mr. Dowd, any second?
Second.
Mr. Chavone, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
fine.
Invoices for payment.
There's
Public
two.
comment. Pardon me, I'm sorry. No, never mind.
The one is for the Seltzer Group, D&O Insurance.
Okay.
It's $2,825, the same as it was last year. And the one for New Jersey Advanced Media for $172.20. That's for the advertisement for the meetings for the year for the GPA.
Oh, okay.
So the total is $2,997.20.
To approve the invoices presented for payment.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Second, Mr. Chivone. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And the other thing that I've included is the invoices that have been paid through January 15th. They basically are related to the P3 account. The one major one is RMG Insurance, which is liability insurance for the P3 project, which was $106,055.
And that was funded already?
Yes.
Okay, very
These have
good.
all been funded.
Very good. Okay, 4.0, public comment.
No, thank you.
It's terrible. It's so hard to
So-
hear.
You're having a hard time hearing, Peg?
Let's
This
all-
is really. Hello.
Hi, Peg.
Hi.
We should all talk louder then. All right.
Okay. Dave, sign-in sheet? We've never had to deal with this before, so that's the... They didn't believe us. Who's the first on the sign-in sheet? There we go. Greg Kokinski, but you're here for the P3 update, correct, Greg? You don't want to speak at the courtesy of the floor. George, you're here with Benish as well, correct? Okay. Mr. O'Hare, Bernie O'Hare.
Morning.
Good morning.
My name is Bernie O'Hare, and I live in Nazareth. And I believe that Mr. Langen is correct, that I'm the first person to ever have addressed this body during courtesy of the floor, which kind of surprises me a little bit. Maybe that's because you meet at 8:15 a.m. You know, that might have something to do with it. The reason I'm here is because this body last month pretty much blatantly violated the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act. It's an act that is designed to give the public an opportunity to hear and see their government in action. This body, Mr. Dowd, made the motion, moved to go into executive session. Never bothered explaining why, either before you went into executive session or why you went into executive session after you came out of executive session. That is very clearly a violation of the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act. It states very specifically in the act itself, the reason for holding the executive session must be announced at the open meeting occurring immediately prior or subsequent to the executive session. That did not happen. That was a violation of the Sunshine Act. You have an attorney, Mr. Lucius. It is his responsibility to keep you from violating the law. That did not happen. You violated the law, okay? Now, I understand since that time that you went into executive session to discuss two matters. One of them is employment. You don't have any employees. So I don't understand why you can go into executive session to discuss employment when you don't have, to discuss personnel, when you don't have any personnel. The second reason that I was told that you went into executive session was for purposes of litigation. Well, there is no, as far as I know, maybe I'm mistaken. Is there any existing litigation right now involving the GPA?
No, there's not any litigation.
There is
that
not
I
any,
know of.
there's no existing litigation. Then, so you had no existing litigation for, with which to meet for an executive session. The other matter is issues in which identifiable complaints are expected to be filed. Can you tell me what identifiable complaints are out there that are expected to be filed? Any of you?
I don't know, we would be able to.
You-
By somebody else outside of the organization?
Well, you went into
We-
executive session to discuss litigation. Where are the you've already explained that there is no existing litigation. The other reason to go into executive session for litigation,
I don't know
to
where you're getting
discuss issues
I don't know
in
where you're
which-
getting litigation from.
litigation is one of the reasons to go into executive session.
You're stating that we have some litigation. I don't
No,
understand.
I was told that the reason you went into executive session was to discuss personnel and to discuss litigation.
I don't know where you got that from.
I got it from you.
No, you
I
don't. No, you
I
didn't.
never mentioned litigation. I said a legal memo. There was nothing about litigation.
Well, then that's a violation of the Sunshine Act.
It is not.
It is blatantly a violation
It
of the
is not.
Sunshine Act. To discuss a legal memo is a violation of the Sunshine Act.
It is not.
Well, we're going to disagree here, and frankly, I don't take very seriously the word of an attorney who let his board go into executive session without.
When you're finished, I will respond, and I will explain to you why you're wrong, as
Well-
a matter of law and as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The
Yes, correct.
The other
Let
point,
Mr.
the other
Hare-
point
let
that I want
Mr.
to
Hare
make.
finish. Thank
I'd
you.
like to know where Mr. Lucius, your solicitor, exactly what hat he's wearing today. Is he wearing the hat for the General Purpose Authority, or is he wearing a hat for Mr. Brown? I'd like to know that, because he apparently was operating both as counsel to John Brown and counsel to the General Purpose Authority, which is blatantly unethical. Blatantly unethical.
Mr. O'Hare.
This firm right now, excuse me, but it is courtesy of the floor. It is time for the public to speak
That's
and
right.
for you to listen.
But not in a defamatory way.
Excuse me, there's nothing defamatory
It sure
about
is.
the fact that you were working for both Brown and the GPA and getting paid by both.
And that's a lie.
Well, that's again contrary to what I've been told.
That is a lie, and you're
That is
basing it on
contrary to what I've been
hearsay.
told.
You're basing it on hearsay. Please
I'm not
finish.
basing it on hearsay. I'm basing it upon what I was exactly told by
That's
a member of this
hearsay.
board. By a member
Please,
of this board.
please finish.
Excuse me, but you know what? You are the solicitor to this board.
But I'm not
You
going to
are
be
not a member
defamed
of
in
this
public,
board.
sir.
You are not a
John.
member of this board. This is a violation of.
Excuse me, if we can just maintain some level of civility. Bernie, I appreciate your
Well,
position. I'd like it.
This gentleman
I-
should not be interrupting somebody during courtesy of the floor.
Okay.
It is my opportunity to speak.
Yep.
It is
And
my
you'll be-
time to
you'll-
speak.
and you'll be
it is
afforded your time.
time to listen.
As I'm letting you speak, but let's try to maintain a civil manner here, okay?
There was nothing
Okay.
uncivil about what I said. What I said was actually factually accurate. Factually accurate. You now have a vacancy on the board, and I understand. And I'd like to know: is this body serve the county anymore, or is it a runaway agency? Does it exist to serve Northampton County, or is it a runaway agency now, where you've got a solicitor who is telling you can appoint your own members, whether it's a runaway body in which you're hiring Kim Plyler to prepare your own website and to prepare your own Facebook page, which, so far as I know, still has a previous executive's picture all over it. You know what? I'm kind of disgusted by what's going on with this body.
I mean, I can address that, Bernie. You were pointing out items on a Facebook page that were taken at a groundbreaking, and it occurred during the last term. There were pictures of like a
Yeah.
groundbreaking. I don't know that it warrants to go in and like cut and paste and put somebody's face on somebody else and with holding a shovel. I'm not being smart. I didn't understand where those comments came from when you made those, but those were specific to an event that happened. And
The very cover of the Facebook page
Okay.
includes the previous administration.
yeah, I'm not a Facebook guy, so
Yeah.
I don't have that on my.
But you paid $70,000 or $60,000 or whatever it was you did pay to Kim Plyler to prepare a website that doesn't really work very well. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Very good. Seeing none. Moving on. Old business. 5.1, Bedco loan. I'm sorry, John, did you need to address anything?
I do.
Okay, just if you could be brief and again, civil would be great. Thank you, as you've always been.
Number one, Mr. O'Hare, you weren't at the meeting last month, so you don't really know what went on.
I was watching the video.
Please, now let me finish. Please, let me finish. You made derogatory comments the day after the meeting when the video wasn't even up yet. So you were not at the meeting. The minutes were not prepared. the video was not prepared. Please let me finish. Please let me finish.
You were stating things that you interrupted me, I'm going to interrupt you. Okay? That video was available immediately, and I didn't write a word about that meeting until I saw the video.
I'll let the staff address that. Number two, Mr. O'Hare, you did not read all of the Sunshine Act, and I wonder why. Number one, you are correct. The GPA does not have employees. It appointed, and the word appointed is used in the Sunshine Act. It appointed members of the DCED to provide administrative services to this body. One of the members of the DCED staff contacted a board member about what occurred in the executive session. What occurred in the executive session was privileged. And I said before we went into the meeting that we were going into the executive session, that we were going into the executive session to discuss a privileged matter in response to a question. That is clearly covered under the Sunshine Act. And I had specific attorney-client privilege discussions with Mr. Langen several days before the January meeting, and it was those discussions that were to be discussed, and in fact were discussed in the executive session. I invite you, I actually urge you to go back and read the Sunshine Act, and you will conclude that what I'm saying is legally correct. It has been researched thoroughly. You only gave part of the reason why you can go into executive session. And in fact, separate from the attorney-client privilege matter we discussed, and I don't know where you came up with litigation, but I'll leave that for another day. We discussed a matter that was privileged, and if I would have announced it, or anybody else would have announced it before that session, it would have been inappropriate. And in fact, one of the concerns that this board had and I had is that if too much disclosure was made as to why we were going into executive session, it was going to tip off the reason why. And guess what? It happened anyway, to the disparagement of this board. So, sir, you are absolutely wrong as a matter of law.
As a matter of law, I'm absolutely
You are not.
You violated the Sunshine
I did not, and let's end it right. Let's end it right there.
without announcing your reason why.
It was announced, sir. It was announced, and you weren't here.
Excuse me.
You were not in the meeting,
Okay.
so if you want to go with hearsay, it's over.
Okay.
And
Excuse me,
Mr. O'Hare,
gentlemen. I'm not
Mr.
listen,
O'Hare.
Listen, this isn't like county council
that's right.
circa 10 years
It's
ago.
not
We're not going to have a zoo
And
today.
Mr. O'Hare, as
John,
you know, final comment.
You-
Mr. O'Hare,
excuse me.
Mr. O'Hare, two final comments. Assuming you are correct, a violation of the Sunshine Act can be cured at the next meeting.
Well, cure it.
We just said why we went into executive session. We just said it.
The board didn't say anything.
Okay. Mr. O'Hare, you had your time to speak, okay? And I'd appreciate it if we could, again, if we could keep this civil. John, you had your chance.
That's it.
To clarify, we appreciate your position. We believe that you protected our interests well. That's fine. You know, we had some issues. We're trying to work through them. A conduct of specific individuals within the DCED, namely the person's not here today. So I think we're moving in the right direction. But you know, we'll see what happens next. Okay. So you know, we did something. It went to executive session to you know, protect the integrity of someone that may have not needed protecting. And now we're getting this blast from you. Guess what? Next time, I'll do it in an open meeting. I'll do it in an open meeting. I'll call them out on the carpet in front of everybody. Okay? It may still happen. Yeah.
All I'm asking you to do is
Yep.
follow the law.
And Bernie, no, it's not at all. And I believe you know my position on it.
Okay.
So I appreciate your time, and you know, let's move on. Okay, old business, Bedco loan.
It's my understanding that the board wanted to look at it one last time. It had been approved before, but I think a number of issues had come up through the loan committee, and I think they wanted to bring it back to reinforce whether or not the board wanted to continue with the approval. Is that right, Mr. Lucius?
That is correct. Just quickly, I received comments on the Bedco loan documents. There was one issue I raised with the board concerning non-recourse provisions. Mike Gall, the Bedco attorney, called me and said that Bedco was willing to back off of that position. The other changes Mike made, in my view, were acceptable.
I think what we're looking for is just a reinforcement from the board to approve the loan. To
Yeah,
Bedco.
I'd like to see if there's any further update with the process as to where Bedco is right now with respect to. Yeah, I'm sorry, Alicia's here from Bedco. Mr. Kraft, I don't think we'll need you for this.
Morning.
Morning.
It's my understanding that the loan documents have been circulated between Mr. Lucius and Mr. Gall. I had sent the email to the loan committee, and Mr. Lucius saying the non-recourse provision was something that could be withdrawn. I know there was the follow-up conversation. And so outside of that update, I'm not clear on what you're looking for.
Where are you at in the process with respect to the conservatorship? It's been 4 months. Has there been any
Okay, so it
movement
wasn't
at all?
clear when our last conversations with the GPA. It was made very clear to me by you, Mr. Langen, that you didn't want a loan specific to this building, but to our blade efforts.
Yeah.
And so you are looking for an update on the Goodman building. Is
Yeah.
that
Well, then
correct?
staff actually kept the Goodman building in the
Documents.
various documents.
And
So
we struck
what we're not going to do is pretend there's a Chinese wall and the money's not going to the Goodman building.
Okay, that's fine.
And again, I had major issues with this one on the front end, and we came to a conclusion that we found a way we could possibly help Bethlehem and try to do this. And in light of recent events, specifically with staff, I believe that there wasn't full disclosure with a member's relationship with the adjoining property owner and his mother's company. So what I want to do is make sure that we are 100% in the open with every possible permutation of how this could unfold. So I'm not going to pretend it's not going to the Goodman building, although we wanted to make it like a blight remediation thing. So it is important to know, like, what the money's going to go to the Goodman building, correct?
Absolutely, which is what we've presented to this body publicly on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
So it's not like we've
No.
ever withheld that piece of information.
Agreed. So that's
so-
why I want to know the likelihood of this thing coming to fruition.
So it is our intention to put this money into the Goodman building. There's an additional $250,000 that Bedco had received through a BB&T grant that is also going into this building as a loan. We had an issue of a PPL pole, if you recall, when you were out there. The pole, which was very close to the property, needed to be removed. The city did authorize the payment of approximately $38,000 to have that pole removed, so we are waiting. It's on PPL's schedule. That is critical to being able to replace the roof, which is the primary concern of the property. We did continue our efforts with C3, who came before this body, Do Engineering, Arif Fazel in particular, came before this body to represent their interests in the property. We've continued to work with them to identify next steps, and they are primed and ready to go. So when we get the loan documents finalized and the funds transferred, we're going to start the interior work, and as PPL comes and removes the pole, do the exterior work on the property, which includes the roof replacement.
Okay.
We have one outstanding appeal with Mr. Konofsky. We did not win, but the courts refused to hear the appeal of the award of conservatorship. That might have happened before we were here last. Forgive me, so many different appeals on this property that I sometimes lose track. But there is one remaining, and that goes to the sale of the property. And so we expect in the May-June timeframe to hear from the courts that it's our expectation they're going to refuse to hear that appeal as well.
Okay. So then when would the closing be on the building?
Immediately thereafter. We have an expectation that our legal staff is prepping the documentation necessary to further the sale, so that when that last appeal is rejected, that we're able to move forward with the transfer. Now, we won't release conservatorship on the property until we're certain that the property is well underway of rehab. We're almost complete. It's a little bit of we've got a little bit of discretion, and at what point we're going to do that.
Okay.
So regardless of ownership, the city will maintain conservatorship because we're about getting the building done.
Yeah. Understood.
The
Okay.
loan is 2 years, if I recall.
Yes, or a point of sale.
Okay. And their financing is in place, they're ready to go with on their end,
Yes.
the developers?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons they were selected through our public RFP process. And I want to remind you that the courts, Northampton County Court of Common Pleas, did certify the redevelopment plan, certified the entity the property would be transferred to, has certified the entire process. So this has been the most examined and project I've ever been through.
Okay.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Can I say something? Okay. Just a few points of clarification on this. And some people here, Alicia in particular, I think you're already aware of this. I think Amy is as well. When this request first came to the GPA, it was proposed that the city of Bethlehem was going to be the borrower. After asking some questions, we were told that it was the developer that was going to be the borrower. So the question that we had was, how do you lend to a developer who doesn't own an asset for this particular project? Ultimately, this board wanted to support this project, and I stated that publicly in an earlier meeting, that we were looking to support this project, but it needed to make sense. Ultimately, Bedco became the borrower, and we made the decision in a previous meeting to support this particular request. And that was happening through staff. So the last thing that happened was there was a particular fund that was recommended that we use loan fund that was recommended that we use to support this. And in doing a little bit of research on my own, it didn't fit the parameters initially. So we as a committee made some decisions and put some conditions in there so that it would fit the fund that we were using to support this project. So those are just a few things that I want to clarify for everybody, that kind of how we got to where we are with this particular request. Okay, and I think that's all I have to say on this particular matter.
Any other comment? No.
Do you need a motion to reapprove?
Well, we had made the motion to allow loan committee to handle it, but I believe with losing Neil and speaking with Sean Donahue, the other member of the loan committee, that we wanted to bring it back in front of the full board in a meeting to discuss once again, to make sure everybody is on the same page with this one. So that's why we did this the way we did this.
Yeah, man, we've supported other projects in the city of Easton. One of them continues to be ongoing. That was a fairly large investment on our part. This is also a fairly large investment on our part in the city of Bethlehem, and I am still supportive of it. So I don't think that the support for the project or the desire to support the project hasn't changed. It's just been some of the semantics as to how we got to where we are.
Yeah, and the big driver for me, which continues to be, is the conservatorship process, only because I'm not as knowledgeable in the conservatorship process as the folks at the city of Bethlehem, and loaning money to a building that they don't own yet for the benefit of a private developer was what I had a hard time getting my head wrapped around. But like we said, if it's going to go towards blight remediation and it's with Bedco, then I don't have an issue with it to move forward. Do we have a? What I'd like to do is have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Chivone.
Second.
Second, Mr. Dowd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Alicia, for the update. I appreciate it. Please do keep us posted.
I have the loan document, Alicia, in final form, if you want to take it with you.
Yeah, and to that end, Alicia's department did everything they needed to do properly throughout this entire exercise for this project. So no issues with you guys, Alicia, whatsoever.
Because I could have Sean.
Old business 5.2, art
Give it to
project.
Dave. No.
Back in December, the board had approved a project, a community-based project, a sculpture for Paul Deary, on the condition that he found a location that would have access to the community, and then once you found that location, you had to come back to the board for approval. I've left at everybody's place a picture and the identification and release from the city of Easton. It's in Lower Hackett Park, and the location you can see. So we're looking for the board's approval for him to continue with the project.
Okay. It's along the bike path?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we did direct him, and I believe that a month went by in between. He had originally asked and had approached us and wanted something possibly in an industrial park. I believe Mark was supposed to put him in touch with various economic development agencies, but a month went by, and he made no contact on behalf of the artist.
But the committee, I mean,
Well,
the department did.
You did after the fact. I know I called Bethlehem and Alicia after the fact, but a full month went by and no contact was made with those other agencies. So, that was another issue.
Okay.
But I appreciate you doing the follow-up on it and getting this moving again, so. Okay. So do we have a motion to approve the location as selected by the artist in conformance with our previous motion?
Sure, so moved.
Motion, Mr. Dowd.
Second.
Second, Mr. Chivone. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 No, comment?
Uh,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Sean.
Do you want to ask if anybody's opposed?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it anyone opposed?
Yes, I'm opposed. I stated previously that I like the project. I like what he was looking to do. My recollection is that he was inspired by the economic development taking place in the Lehigh Valley, and I feel that in one of the industrial parks where that development is taking place is a better location for it. So I will vote no.
Okay. And we had also then gotten an update from Mark in the last few weeks. Was it an email? He said he reached out to Kerry Roble and
And I think
they did,
Petrucci.
and they didn't want a sculpture within their park. So I mean,
And really,
I don't wanna-
LVIP doesn't
Yeah.
have walking paths like a lot of developments have. It would have been somewhat restrictive and not afforded more of a community-based project, so.
Okay.
alrighty. Motion carries. Old business, Salt Communications.
I'm not exactly sure why this was put on the agenda.
Did you have an update, John? Why did we?
Basically, I think was publicly stated, the contract ended at the end of
Oh,
December.
yes. Their
Okay.
contract ended at the end of December.
And I'm not aware that Saul's doing any more work for the GPA.
They are not at this time. Dave, what I do want you to do is to go out and look for somebody that could work on our behalf on our platforms for the Twitter. I guess Twitter was set up. I don't do Twitter. Facebook and administration of the website.
Sure.
Yeah, I had asked for this to be put on because of the fact that I guess the contract had ended. So I think what we would ask is if you can give us a report back at a future meeting on what I would call maintenance items they were to do and what needs to be done with the site so that we can address that. Thank you.
5.4 ethics statement of financial interest. We do need those in. I think there is a May 1st deadline.
Yeah.
May 1st deadline, and I believe we can do those online or in hard copy. Hard copies, I believe, were provided everybody at our last meeting, at our last meeting, I believe. New business. Provision of administrative services by DCED. We'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Tina Smith. She is the new DCED director. Tina comes, I don't know your background, Tina. Do you want to give us a quick minute on who you are, where you're from?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live in Nazareth for the past 11 or so
Do you
years.
want to come up to the mic so we just have you on the recording?
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. O'Hare.
I live in Nazareth for the past 11 or so years, and I previously just left the Nazareth Bath Regional Chamber of Commerce as the executive director there for the past 10 years. So very involved in the community, used to doing community events, working with small businesses, and I'm affiliated with certain nonprofits in the Valley as well.
Super.
Welcome,
Welcome. I look forward to working with you. I believe Sarah probably already penciled me in somewhere on your schedule, as I requested to be like the first meeting. But we did.
It's only day 2.
I know. You'll be sick of us soon. And we also did meet, Sean and I, Donahue and I did meet with Lamont McClure, who was eager to get you in and up to speed and being able to, provide the same high level of services we've expected over the past 4 county executives. So I appreciate you being here. Thanks.
Looking forward to it.
Yep.
Thanks.
We should welcome Charles Durkinger, too.
Yes. Hi, Charles. How are you doing? Met briefly. How do you pronounce your last name? Durkinger. Okay. I know I was going to butcher that one at some point soon. Okay. 6.2, filling of board vacancies. We currently have 2 board vacancies. With the departure of Helene Whitaker. We'd like to thank her for her time and service. She did a lot to get here sometimes. And as well as Neil Coplin. 2 different scenarios there. Helene's term was expired. She had not been reappointed by the county executive. And so they'll be filling that vacancy, I believe, per the agreements, correct?
Some points of clarification. Number 1, both of these vacancies are unlike anything that's occurred before, even Helene's. When a term ends, a board member's term ends, the Municipality Authorities Act provides that that individual is to remain in office until his or her successor is appointed. If Helene had not resigned, emphasis on the word resigned, she would still be in office. Because she resigned, this board could take certain action, which I'll elaborate more on when we get to Neil. But I've recommended to the board that the better approach is to have Helene's vacancy filled as prescribed by the GPA bylaws, which state that the county executive is to identify someone and basically recommend or refer that individual for confirmation by county council. Neil Copland's situation is significantly different. Neil's term was to have expired at the end of 2019. The Municipality Authorities Act clearly provides, in no uncertain terms, again, I'm talking about a resignation, that if a vacancy occurs on the board by virtue of a resignation, the board shall appoint a successor to fill his or her unexpired term. That's right out of the Municipality Authorities Act, Section 5610D. Therefore, this board is obligated under the Act to appoint a successor for Neil Copland to serve until the end of calendar year 2019.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question first? Do you mind? Can I ask a question first?
Well, you.
Okay.
I appreciate what you had to say there under the home rule charter, and certainly, where a lot of this is coming from. It is our intention to look at this further, but we are planning on and do intend to put forth 2 recommendations to county council to fill this.
Okay, but the law, just to be clear.
It says shall, it doesn't say must.
No, shall means they're obligated to, respectfully.
Not
No, but I have to advise the board.
All right, I'm the president of the county council and also the president or the chairman of the personnel committee who sat right there for 7 years? I forget how long. So the Municipalities Act, vacancies. If a vacancy occurs on the board due to death, disqualification, resignation, or removal of a member, the municipal governing body making the original appointment appoints a successor to fill the unexpired term.
That is not the
I am
act.
the original governing body who appointed these people, all you guys, to this board.
You
When it
appointed
came up.
you appointed us to this board?
Yeah, from the personnel.
No, you didn't.
You were at county council when
for like 7 years now.
Glenn Riedman was in office?
Oh, you've been hearing that? Well, when you get
When
you get reappointed.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
When your term expires, you become.
You
up
said
for
appoint. You said
I
appointed.
didn't
That-
originally appoint, but I reappointed.
Yeah, there you go.
But we'll argue semantics here all
No,
night
we don't.
long.
We don't
She's
need to.
pretty good
That was
at
an
it.
incorrect statement. But thank you.
That is the way it works, you know. And whatever he's trying to tell you, I'm sorry, you're wrong again.
No, I'm not.
And hopefully the county executive has 2 people for us to appoint at the end of this month. I think our personnel committee's the first Wednesday of the month. Third Wednesday of the month, which is in 2 weeks.
Well,
Just-
let me make a suggestion.
And you've been on county council.
Yeah,
for
I don't think we need to
Mr. Dowd.
go to war over things.
I agree with that.
It's not my intention to go to war. I know it's not Sean's intention.
I just
But
hear statements that are wrong, and I have to come up.
They're
and
not
speak to it.
wrong. I'm reading from the act, sir.
I am reading from the.
No,
act.
you're not.
Okay. Well, public comment is over.
Yes.
If you're just going to
That's-
stand
that's
here and
on this-
argue.
on this thing. So
Yeah,
I
go
implore you
ahead.
not to appoint somebody yourself to this board.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, my suggestion, I think it's well for us to be informed. There's a difference of opinion in some respect. I think we have a new administration. My suggestion would be, if we can all agree, that it might be well for us to, in some kind, have a consultation. Let's sit down and talk about who might be some really good people. One that we all can stand up and say those are good folks and move forward, as opposed to getting into a tit for tat on a battle. And I've known Lamont for a long time. I'm going to presume that he will be the same reasonable person I've known him to be, and that we need to have a full complement. We need to have people who are competent to make decisions in this field. So I don't know if the administration's interested in hearing about who might be some possibilities. I mean, I don't have a name in mind at the moment.
You know, we don't give the names of county council until the administration puts them forward.
Yeah, and also, yeah, an open line of communication is great. I mean, Mr. Durkinger, just reach out. And that's the best way to approach things.
And I have already.
Okay. That to.
I've spoken to Mrs. Donahue and Mr. Jack.
Okay. Very good.
Unrelated to this specific matter.
Right.
Yeah.
This is,
Oh.
Yeah.
I was not aware until yesterday that this authority was considering making its own appointments. So when it did come to my attention, I certainly made
Yep.
it be here this morning.
So it's time to research some law. That's where we're at right now. If there's 2 differences of opinions, it's going to be real simple.
The law has been researched.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to get into an argument here because that's
I
what.
agree, but I want-
Here's what we're not going to do in meetings that I'm going to sit and kind of preside over. We're not going to get in tit for tat arguments, and we're not going to play political games because, frankly, we have been heretofore. When I say an apolitical board, I can't even tell you the last time somebody's even showed up for a meeting, let alone spoken, because it's never happened. Because we go about our business, we do things the right way, we do things in the open, everything gets done. St. Luke's doesn't care about if I'm a Republican or a Democrat or who the sitting county council members are. They don't care. They care about getting their bond financing done. They are not thinking about what county councilmen are doing today. Neither is Lafayette College, Lehigh University. We've done over $1 billion in bond financing for these conduit bond financing for these organizations in the last 12 to 15 years. Well over $1 billion is my guess. And they don't care about politics. So here's what we're going to do. If you're saying that you get to appoint 2 people, get a letter from your solicitor and have them give it to us. If that's the case, fantastic. Get us the 2 most qualified people you can. That's all I ask. Okay. John, if you said you've researched the law, you've researched the law.
I love what
I'm not going to, again.
I love what you just did.
We're not going to get into.
I agree.
we're not going to get into arguments inside here when we're all volunteers and we're usually out of here in an hour.
I agree. I agree
Okay?
completely.
So I don't have the time to waste on
Let the
people's
solicitors-
political agendas. That's not my thing. I'm not a politician.
Let the solicitor's office research it.
Yep.
If their
We'll look
conclusion is
forward to-
different than
we'll look
mine,
forward to your
we
memo.
won't debate it.
Very good. Moving on.
Just, I have a comment. Well, I'd like to ask the question that I had earlier. And like others have stated here, I'm not going to debate whether the board is to appoint or recommend somebody for appointment. County, I'm not going to get into that. You guys work that out, and when a decision is made collectively, let us know, and we'll do what we need to. The question that I have, however, is if in fact this board is to make a recommendation for an appointment to fill the vacancy of Neil Copland in particular, what would that protocol be? You know, how should we go about that? I think a void that we now have is someone from the banking arena. I mean, I was a commercial banker in a past life. Mark was as well. But this board relied fairly heavily on Neil
True.
as a very seasoned and experienced banking executive for some of the decisions that were made. So a suggestion, if I may, would be to look at a banking executive, whether it's by this board, whether it's by the county executive. That's something that I would like to ask.
Yeah, it's been a vital part of the organization. I think Peter Gray was here. We've had a number of, I think, very, very seasoned bankers. And I think seasoned is probably appropriate because they've seen some things that that their experience will really help them help the process. So I'd really like to see that as a suggestion anyway.
The Bedco loan is a perfect reason why, or a perfect illustration, Mike, of what you're saying.
Okay. 6.3, update on right-to-know RTKL requests, right-to-know law requests.
Just briefly, we're working on them. We received 3. We will respond in accordance with the law, and I'll leave it go at that.
Very good. 6.4, payments by county of P3 related costs. Are we up to date, Dave, on the payments owed to the GPA?
Yes.
Okay. Very, very.
We just recently done the milestone number 3.
Okay.
Figure, about $1 million.
Okay. That's the one I delivered?
Yes.
Okay. Very, very, very good. I have not heard back from the county executive or his staff relative to the bill I had put forward as work as the designated authorized representative. I did write a letter to Mr. McClure stating that I would gladly donate the funds that I was receiving to charity, to the Third Street Alliance and Children's Home of Easton. I'll read a statement at the end, but I have not heard back from them on that, so we'll ask Mr. Durkinger to look into that. And if you could.
I'm sorry, yes. There was an emergency next door. We have someone stuck in the elevator, which was the noise you were hearing.
Oh, okay.
Everyone, there's a whole bunch of people somewhere.
Okay.
Rescue those into it?
Yeah, it was a bill that was put forth and approved at the end of last year and has not been paid for services as they relate to the P3 that I had provided. And I believe you have the letter that I sent. I just want to know when those funds can be received so they can go back out. And we'll address that in the next bullet point. Okay. 6.5, appointment of new GPA authorized representative for the P3 project. Over the last almost year, what was it, January or February last year? January last year. This project, and we're a conduit for the county to be able to do this bridge project so that, we have safe bridges throughout the county, is taking up far, far, far too much of my time. And I'd like to look at having somebody else be the authorized representative. Thankfully, under the way the agreements are written, since we are a conduit for the project for the county, the GPA has no skin in the game. The GPA makes no money on this $38.5 million project. So we have the ability to hire outside professionals to do those tasks or jobs that may arise from time to time. So we may look at somebody from the engineering field. I would like Benish's input on perhaps a job description for authorized representative that would entail somebody that can handle the myriad of things that needs to be done on a daily, if not weekly basis, so that we do not have bumps in the schedule.
That
'Cause what's gonna
process has
happen-
started.
Okay, very, very good. So that was just something I wanted to bring up. What else do we have? Authorization of the execution of P3 documents. John, defer to you on that one.
We added this to the agenda, Sean, based on our discussions, just as kind of a, I'll say, double check, belts and suspenders. And specifically, we have an amendment to the public-private partnership agreement, which needs to be executed. There's nothing major, there's no change order, there's no increase in cost.
Okay.
It cleans up some things, but I think based on recent events, I propose that the board make a motion that you can execute the amendment so that there's no doubt that it has been approved.
Is there something?
Sorry. Is there something included in our packet on this?
No, I have the amendment. I didn't bore you with the legalese, but I can paraphrase the amendment for you if you'd like me to.
Okay.
What were the items? And this, again, that under the previous agreements, and I would have had the ability to execute something, but again, anything that needs to be executed, I want in front of the entire board each and every time.
The amendment makes some changes to the performance bonds and specifically allows the developer to have the performance bonds cover a certain number of bridges rather than all 33 at one time. You kind of do it in steps. We clarified the condition in which the bridges are to be relinquished at the end of 14 years. We also added a definition that should have been added concerning environmental laws, and we made some clarifications to the right-of-way provisions. As you know, the GPA owns the bridges and the appurtenant rights. And this is something we should add that Sean and I met with the Benish folks. We met about a week ago or so with Mike Amelie, the new director of Public Works.
Director, yep.
And we reviewed all of this with him. There are going to need to be some permanent and temporary rights of way acquired. The GPA will do that in the first instance since it's the owner of the bridges. We outlined that to Mike. It's a refinement to the way the documents were worded because we initially anticipated that the county would be directly involved in any right-of-way acquisition. We weren't even sure any was necessary, but with respect to some bridges, it is. And the contractor has a third party. The construction contractor has a third party contractor, Arrow, who's going out and doing the right-of-way procurement. It'll just be that the easements will be in the name of the GPA in the first instance, since the deeds are, and then everything will be transferred to the county as contemplated in the documents 14 years out, 13 years out now. So no change orders, no change in dollars. Those were things that were really not anticipated when we did the documents a year ago.
Okay.
Thank you.
And George and Greg, did I state that? Okay, thank you.
I'm looking for a motion.
I'll move it.
Motion, Mr. Dowd. I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Sean, I think you wanted to bring up
Yeah,
Riley and Company.
Yeah, is Riley and Company here? No.
No.
Oh, you mean Benish?
No.
Well, Riley.
Oh, no,
It was Riley.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm looking
Thanks,
out.
Dave.
Yeah, let's do Benish quick with an engineering. We need to add this. I thought it was already on here. I didn't catch that. We have the folks from Benish, George Horace and Greg Klikinski is the project manager, to give us the update with respect to where we're at on the bridge project. Good morning, Greg. How are you? Thank you.
Thanks for having me say a few words. Greg Kuklinski from Benish. We're a third-party engineer for the GPA for the P3 project. And I provide you all with a status summary, which I provide once a month, to give you an update where everything is right now. We're tasked with doing design reviews, construction management, and overall keeping the project on task. Without going through all the details in here, I'll let you know that overall the project's moving very well. We've been in constant communication with Greenman Peterson, who's the designer for Krieger Construction, as well as Krieger themselves. One bridge has been rehabilitated already, Bridge 157. We had a groundbreaking for that. And they're currently working on building another one by May 31st to meet their milestone deadline. There's 3 bridges they have right now in the queue. You'll see it's 202, 205, and 227. All 3 of those have no stream restrictions, so they're hoping to get one of them constructed in the spring. In the midst of getting those prepared right now, they're trying to clear right away, get utilities cleared, and get the final design completed. The last thing I'll throw out there too is that the right-of-way acquisition process, as John has mentioned, has been started. Initial letters have been sent to all the homeowners, and discussions will be occurring over the next few weeks to try and get those easements cleared. And then lastly, we met with Northampton County Public Works Director Mike Amealy, and we've had a good dialogue with him. We're looking forward to working with him on the project, and we'll be providing him with updates probably on a daily basis almost with the level of communication that we have. So, but overall, the project's going well. Everybody's meeting their milestones, and there have not been any change orders. So,
First bridge was completed? Did you? Okay.
Yeah, 157.
157.
Very good. Any of the board members have any questions for Benish? Very good. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate the update. Thank you, George, for coming. Yeah, Riley and Company, they've been required, they've been working with the county auditors. Where's my paperwork at here? Dave, rather.
I believe there were 3 letters that was received.
Yeah, there's three separate letters, and this comes out of, one is the bridge cost summary and depreciation schedule, which needed to be done. Heretofore, like, the bridges didn't have a value. Now you're doing $38.5 million worth of bridges. They're creating a value. So the auditors from the county need to work with our auditor in getting this put together so that, you know, everything is functioning properly on the accounting side. So that additional scope of work was above and beyond their normal Riley and Company work, was $6,000. The second proposal, is this just the regular, Dave, general ledger? 3,200.
That's the services for the bridge summary. The depreciation schedule, that's one.
Yeah, no, but here's the thing. Riley's regular bills for the GPA as they relate to our regular audit are separate and distinct from any of the P3 costs. The P3 costs associated with additional services that we need to get the county what they need for auditing, that goes back to the county. So there's this 6,000 one is P3 related. Okay. I wish she would have gave these titles. Or no, she did. Bridge cost summary depreciation schedule. Okay. The second one, year-end general ledger adjustments. This isn't P3 related, correct? Adjustment. Okay.
Your general ledger adjustments and.
So that 3,200 is on us. The final one.
Well, part of the adjustment are because of the P3, but there are adjustments to the regular balance sheet and P&L.
Okay. Yeah, but that I would say would be, I would say that would be on us essentially.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Okay. Yeah, the other one is P3 related as well.
Right.
Okay. So we have three, we need a motion to approve the three proposals, all dated, I believe, February 1st. One is for 3,200.
Isn't it 17,000 total?
Yeah, but the other two, the 8,300 and 6,000 are the pass-through ones. Okay.
So you're looking for a motion to approve all three?
Yeah.
Can I just ask a point of clarification, please?
Sure.
The bridge cost summary and depreciation schedule, those are services that Riley has already performed.
They're in the process.
They're in the process?
Yeah,
Okay.
they have not.
It's been a real struggle going back and forth trying to
Yeah.
determine specific bridges. And
Put on more
costs per
calls.
bridge, because it's been done as a general overall.
Okay.
Yeah, they're working, actually, they agreed, and they agreed to work with Benish. Benish is coming up with the numbers, and they have to put them all into the proper auditing
Okay.
procedures. So they're not calculating on their own.
Okay.
We don't have if your concern was we have a accounting company trying to approximate bridge costs. That's not the case. They're
No.
working with. Oh, okay.
I was working under the assumption that for the bridge cost summary that work had been done by them and they had done it in good faith, and therefore this is a cost based on.
No, this is something that
the
needs
work
to be
that
done
has
for
been
this
done.
accounting
Okay.
year, though.
Between the county and
Yeah.
the auditors.
Correct.
It's been
Gotcha.
an adventure for everyone so far.
Okay. Thank you. And I understand. I think I understand the other. I think the general ledger adjustments for year end. We've typically been. They have to. I think they have to go to a modified accrual basis with two separate funds because of the P3 project. So I understand that. And then the last one has to do with the audit services. So I'm good. Thank you.
We have a motion to approve the Riley
Motion.
proposals. Motion, Mr. Chivone.
Second.
Second, Mr. Dowd. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Very good.
Thanks, Peg.
Thanks, Peg.
Thank you.
I was going to poke her, but I didn't want to. Okay. Staff reports.
The only update I'll give, it looks as though the spec building that we had talked about with Petrucci looks as though it is not going to happen. They decided to back away from it. They feel as though it's too speculative at this point.
Okay.
So we just actually found that out the other day. Although we're still moving forward with LVIP. They have an RFP out and they're expecting responses back.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything on that whatsoever.
I'll
So,
get that.
yeah, we asked before, and not your fault, but
I'll make
whatever's
sure
being done with LVIP, I don't even know what part of a proposal we're entertaining. I know Mark Cartney was running around
I
in
will
the
make
ether
sure it's
working
brought
on
into the
something,
next
but,
meeting for
okay.
everyone to review.
Yeah, because I don't want to get too far down the path, and it's not something we've ever looked at or vetted, and then they come in and say, hey, we want $400,000 for something, and we're going to say, well, we never saw this or entertained it. Okay, great. Yeah, I appreciate it. Okay. I have a quick, brief statement I'd like to read that I prepared in light of the recent commentary. One, the GPA has issued bonds for institutions of higher education and hospitals and similar facilities for many years. Since 2010 alone, the GPA has issued bonds on behalf of St. Luke's Hospital, Lafayette College, Lehigh University, and Moravian College, totaling in excess of $500 million. The administrative fees that the GPA has received from these issuances has allowed the GPA to make numerous grants and low-interest loans to entities in Northampton County, such as New Bethany Ministries, State Theater, 3rd Street Alliance, to name a few. All of these financings, grants, and loans have been properly reviewed and vetted by the GPA board. Two, the county approached the GPA in late 2015 about the possibility of undertaking a P3 project pursuant to Pennsylvania's P3 statute. This communication occurred after the county received the required approval of the project from PennDOT's Public-Private Partnership Board. Closing on the transaction occurred in January 2017, and the first bridge was completed in January of 18. This $38.5 million undertaking is the first of its kind P3 project in Pennsylvania, and has garnered the support and accolades of many, most notably PennDOT, which desires to have other counties emulate the project throughout the state. Helene Whitaker and Neil Copland, two of our esteemed board members, have recently resigned. Helene's vacancy, as we discussed earlier, would be filled by the county, and we'll figure out how we're going to fill the other one when we get a better legal read. In closing, I emphasize the accomplishments of the GPA are a credit to the members of its board who generously donate their time and work tirelessly. Thank you, guys. And Peg, who's away. The board members are professional, knowledgeable, and their integrity is beyond reproach. The board looks forward to continuing its good work and spirit cooperation with the county and the others to enrich the lives of residents of Northampton County. Thanks. Next meeting, Tuesday, March 6th, 8:15 a.m. And do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Schiavone. I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Hey, Stephen.
I need to sign. Ken, could you hang out for a minute? I'd like to catch up with you if you have time.